Woo, there we are. We're live Thursday night. And I just fired off a link to aidsy, who texted me earlier saying he wanted to join. Mind you, he texted that last night, and I said no stream last night. And then he replied to that 24 hours later saying, thanks for telling me. And it's like, wait, it's another night. Can you do it tonight? So, yeah. And hello, Megaleech, Fox of Fate, and Strictly Sega, if you're still here. I see comments from earlier. It's optical illusion, Annette, but I thank you for the compliment. Jesus, it's really funny because Facebook, you get Facebook memories because I've been streaming these streams to Facebook. So I see the stream from a year ago. I was I might have put on a bit more weight before I started losing it. But a year ago, I was basically 20 kilos heavier than I am now. So the difference is really noticeable. Also, my hair's shorter and beard is shorter and less grey. So just let my hair and beard grow. Both have been trimmed, but they've grown out and are grayer, natural colour. So yes, Fox, it's a big question. Do you actually want to visit Lux Brew at one point? Thanks, Celtic. I'm glad you like it. It's a hand holding a martini. One of my many cocktail shirts. So yeah, the hair's getting pretty long. It's last trimmed in about April, and it wasn't cut short. It was just trimmed. So it's getting longer. You know. Oh no! Did you actually lose a delivery, Annette? That sucks. I haven't had that happen with my booze. Visiting a couple places this weekend, so I'll have at least one or two new things to try on next week's streams, possibly as early as Sunday night. Just a reminder, I won't be live tomorrow night because I'll be away. Heading off tomorrow afternoon, spending Friday and Saturday away, and coming back on Sunday. And I might not do a stream on Sunday. I might be too tired. Who knows? Who knows? I mean, hopefully it's not that arduous. I mean, the drive's not meant to take more than about an hour, but we shall see what happens. Musical Aviator, hello. Celtic, my barber thinks I should grow it too. He just wants to keep it healthy, trim it every now and then. It's like Samson hair. But yes, I had always wondered when I was going to stop dyeing my hair, because I've been dyeing my hair since my late 20s. And I thought at some point I'm just going to have to embrace my age and stop dyeing my hair. Turned out to be during COVID. That's when it happened. And we'll see if what happens with my employment, because the people that I currently work with want me to keep working with them, which would be great. I don't have to go back into the job market then. If I have to go back into the job market, I might colour my hair again to get around the ageism a bit. So music over to you. I made aware Pauline Hanson's cartoon. She didn't script it because the impression of Pauline, IQ of a wet noodle. I honestly have no idea at all what you're talking about. I want a drink. Okay, I have two drinks. I have this. This is actually a carbonated, clarified cocktail. It's got, what's it got in it? Brandy and whiskey. And Coke, actually, or Pepsi Max. Would you believe it? This is mostly Pepsi Max. But add it to milk, it curdles, and you clarify it, and that's what you end up with. So I got to decide whether to have some of that or eggnog, because I did buy eggnog today. Because first time I saw it in the supermarket, like exactly a month before Christmas, which seems appropriate. As Homer Simpson says, we only get 30 sweet noggy days and then the government takes it away from us. Yes, Megalith just like Pepsi Max Crystal. Good memory. And Strictly Sega, yes, I still love the clarified drinks. Big fan, big fan. The video for this will go live on Monday. So yeah, I'm that far ahead. That's for next Monday. But the video is already edited, uploaded, and scheduled to YouTube. Goes live to the world on Monday. Try to get as far ahead with these videos as I can. So I've got my cocktail wearing gear. Probably shoot at least one, if not two videos tonight for next week. And hello, Chris and Salumi. Nettie's off to watch fast-talking Spanish-Israeli Nazi hunters on Netflix. Be back in an hour. Oh, wow. Okay. What show is that? I know there's a show on Prime that's literally called Hunters. It's about Nazi hunters. Nice, Chris. Holiday time because it's after midnight. That's fair. That's absolutely fair. Salumi, you're rejigging your lounge and bedroom and occasionally lurking here. Well, that's fine. I'm gonna make some eggnog. What should I put with it? Brandy's traditional. Come on, brandy or rum? What should I put in the eggnog? Brandy or rum? I'll just get some stuff together. I think I'll just mix it in the glass. I can't be fucked shaking it. I'll get a glass and some ice. Always rum? Salumi says rum. All right, let me get a glass. All right. Get a square of ice in there. Get some of that sweet noggy goodness. Oh wait, it's got to decide which rum. Dun, 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 dun. So many rums. Maybe just this. This is my most recent purchase, Bundaberg 12-year-old dark rum. Strictly Sega, I don't know what the new Beatles thingy is. All right, see you around, Kelty. All right, Nog. Dark Bundy. Yes, Chris, happy Slaughtering Natives Day. I always love the Thanksgiving play in the Addams Family movie where Wednesday stages an insurrection in the summer camp. All right. And because I'm an animal, I'm just going to stir it with my finger. Channeling my inner Homer Simpson. Oh, that makes it smoky. Even Homer doesn't drink it with booze. He just drinks eggnog. So, happy Nogmas. How do they describe this? Aging the legendary rum for 12 years gives notes of rich molasses, warming aromatic layers of clove and nutmeg that develop into a raisin and honeyed oak finish to make perfect black and dry. Okay. I definitely get the raisin, actually. Actually, guys, as much as eggnog, I mean, I got this as a joke. Um, but actually, guess what? Okay, so there's 1 liter. They say, ooh, traditional eggnog. Put 500 mils of eggnog, 2 tablespoons of rum or brandy. I guess that's about a shot, which is what I put in here. 2 shots. Ooh, heat it. Oh, yeah, actually, summer eggnog. Oh, that's interesting. Eggnog, ice cream, and Baileys, and put it in a blender. I mean, I wouldn't do Baileys, but that's not a terrible idea. I'm going to put this back in the fridge. I don't mind the idea of adding some ice cream and some booze and doing a big alcoholic ice milkshake. Jesus, I'll probably do that. Man, I ought to slow down. There's a double shot of rum in there, and I'm just knocking it back. Yeah, it's only 40%. Okay. Maybe I should tell aidsy I sent him the link for the stream. Alrighty. So how good is how how good is eggnog with a healthy dollop of rum in it? Oh, I made a bottled version of my favorite cocktail, and because I was making a bigger batch, I could blend a lot of things because it's rum and apple brandy and sweet vermouth and Benedictine, and then 1 glass. But if you're making a bottle of it, you can blend it. And so I made it with 3 rums and 2 vermouths and 2 herb liqueurs. So makes it much more complex. I have a recorded talking to camera bit where I explain how I made it. I actually shot some close-ups earlier of putting it all together, pouring it into the bottle. What is the line like? Why do you make a bottled cocktail? Well, you can impress people at parties when you just whip it out in front of your guests. It means something very different if aidsy says he's going to whip it out in front of the guests, but it's good call, Salumi. By the way, with the rum, that goes very well together. The rum and the supermarket eggnog. I mean, it's not a difficult thing to make, and arguably a homemade eggnog would probably taste better. I'll look up eggnog recipe. Classic eggnog recipe. Okay. Top search result. Okay. So this recipe says egg yolks, sugar, milk, cloves, cinnamon, cream, grated nutmeg. There's a lot of ingredients. There's a lot of pissing about. Vanilla extract. Okay, so you got to beat the yolks until they become somewhat lighter. Add sugar, beating after each addition. Beat at high speed or whisk until fluffy. Then you heat milk with cinnamon and cloves. Heat it until the milk's steamy hot but not boiling. Temper the eggs. Add the eggs by slowly adding half the hot milk mixture into the eggs, whisking constantly while you add the hot mixture. And then you pour that mixture back into the saucepan. So that's an interesting touch. Pour half the hot milk into the eggs, whisk it, and then pour that back into the pan. Cook the eggnog, stirring constantly until it begins to thicken, coats the back of a spoon. Do not allow the mixture to boil or it will curdle. If it does curdle, you may be able to save it by running through a blender. So remove it from heat and then stir in cream. Strain it through a mesh strainer. Let cool for an hour. Then stir in vanilla extract, nutmeg, and any booze you want. And then it says there's optional egg whites. Beat egg whites with an electric mixer. Add a teaspoon of sugar. Continue to beat till they reach stiff peaks. And then gently fold into eggnog. Yeah, there you go. A lot of ingredients, but doesn't seem all that difficult. But I'm probably going to stick with the lazy buy it from the supermarket. Maximizing those 30 sweet noggy days. Because we know how the government takes it away from us. I love that bit from Homer Simpson. Got to get as much eggnog as possible until the government takes it away from us. Yes, that's what happens. It's not that it's, just a seasonal thing and people wouldn't buy it at any other time of the year. But yes, 30 sweet noggy days until the government takes it away from us. What are you going to do? Government's like that. Government takes things away from you. Right. Very sweet rum's probably got added sugar. Rum purists bemoan that. Well, they added some sugar after distilling because they wanted to make it taste nice. Is there something wrong with you? Why don't you want things to taste nice? What's wrong with these people who want to act like they're the be-all and end-all authority on something? Honestly. They should know that's me. I'm the be-all and end-all authority. And look, speaking of be-all and end-all authorities, it's aidsy. How's it going?
Hello.
There you are.
I'm being very selfish today
Oh, okay.
because I
What's
have my
selfish?
glasses on.
Fair enough.
And we all know what happens when I have my glasses on.
What happens?
I have questions.
Questions.
Yeah, and I'm going to look over the top of my glasses
Oh.
right? Giving the stern look of over the top of the glasses,
Yeah.
because I expect answers. And I'm going to lean this way.
Mm.
I
Yeah.
don't know if you're catching my best side. Pretty much all my sides are best sides.
Yeah. They're all
Right.
good.
You know, I won't show you my cock because you don't deserve it. But what I'm doing today, and I'm probably not going to hang out very, very long today.
That's okay. Just hang out for a bit and say hello.
Because I should really actually what I should do is I should do this now,
Right.
so that I don't grimace. What I'm going to do is I'm going to ask people what's the thing they most can't stand, or the worst thing about incels. What's the worst thing about incels? And I'm going to write all that down. So, you know,
The bit where they murder people.
I'm just think about that for a couple of seconds as I chonk these down.
Okay, that's fair.
I think about, you got your incel running around, with their neck beard on,
That's fair.
and being an incel, and go, oh, I can't stand incels because, and then tell me, and I'm going to write them down in a list, and I'm going to do something with that.
That's fair enough. I also say
Now,
hello,
why is all
Abigail.
of this? You might say, aidsy, why? Why do we want to know about incels? Some of us even have the sexual intercourse.
Mm-hmm.
And the thing is, this all comes from a conversation that me and Angry had ages ago now, where we said, aren't incels just the shit? And we said, well, yes, they are. And then I said, I wonder who's ever sat them down and told them what to do, and if that could help. And we didn't know the answer to that, did Angry and I. So I said, well, why don't I sit down and do a thing where we tell incels what to do, and if they do it, see if that changes anything. So I'm in the process of doing that now. I wasn't going to do that first. I was going to do another thing first, right? But I read a thing about 2-3 weeks ago that disturbed me a lot, right? Bothered me quite a great deal, actually.
Yeah.
And I am difficult to bother, considering the things that I have done, do, and want to do. And I was quite disturbed, and so I thought, all right, why don't I do this, and then see if this works, because I don't know if it'll work. I just I think it'll work, and then we'll put it out there. We'll definitely monetize it, and we'll see how it goes, if it makes a difference or not, and if it doesn't, then we can say final solution time, or we can go get out the flamethrowers, or we can go gun laws in Australia have to change, or a number of other solutions, but it might do something good. So one of the things that is useful to us is to go, well, what shits us about incels? You're wandering down the street, you listen to your headphones, listening to a song of the ages, of your either particular age group, or a new popular tune. Maybe it's black person's music. I don't know. I don't know. It could be the hip hop style music. I hear the young ones are into that now, and they could be hip hopping down the street and see an incel and go, "Ew, I don't like that." Now that's the thing I want to know what they don't like, and then I'll write all those down, and then see if I can't find some patterns. Does that make sense?
Yeah. Do you want to do that now? You've been talking around this for a little while now. Do you actually want people, like, are you going to write it down now, or is that you're just prepping people for a future
No,
time?
I want to write it down right now. I think I've given people enough prep.
Yeah. Okay. All right. So, well, there's not that many people in the chat for a start.
That's fine.
Yeah. If anyone wants to finish the sentence, I can't stand incels because, or I hate it when incels blur. I'll start the ball rolling. Like, I hate the fact they murder people.
Murdering people
Yeah.
is one of the things that bothered the shit out of me lately.
Yeah.
That really, really bothered me. I thought it was a oncer, or an infrequent event, and I find recently, no, not an infrequent event, and I'm going, that's not good. I hate it when they act like they are victims. Oh, fuck yes. Murder people, claim victimhood. Right. I hate the fact that incels think that women somehow owe them sex.
Yeah.
That they are owed sex by women. Right. Oh no, that's not even a word. That's just a squiggle. Woe men. Got it.
I want to say one, and I don't know if it's saying the same thing as Abigail less concisely, but I think it's slightly different. I hate when they declare relations in transactional terms where they alone get to define the value of the transactions. Like, where they don't treat the other person as a person. They say, if
Yep.
I perform A, B, C, by definition, I get D because I've decided that. I haven't taken anyone else into account.
Transactional terms of relations as decided by only the incel in question.
Yeah.
I just don't like transactional relations.
Yeah.
I just don't like that at all.
Yeah. As Sully puts it, the incel dehumanization of women is disgusting.
I'm just going to whack that down. Dehumanization of women.
Yeah.
Humanization of women. Okay.
Yeah. So,
yes,
Safa,
you're right. Yep.
Safa, I like where you're coming from, saying the lack of humanity, but can you quantify that? Like, how does that manifest in your eyes? What behavior or action do you think displays their lack of humanity?
I've got some ideas, but I don't want to poison it. Do incel realize that women are whole human beings with their own thoughts, feelings, and aspirations? Do incels
I think in
realize
general terms, the answer to that is no. No, they don't.
women
They really don't.
are sentient beings.
Ooh. I'm going to go slightly off key here because that's brought up a thing. Okay. When most people say sentient, they actually mean sapient, particularly in science fiction. And Mrs. Angry and I have had this conversation. It's just one of those little things. It's a little bit annoying. Sentient literally means reacting to perceiving things or feeling things. Plants are sentient. Plants react to light, heat, water, and they react to stimulus. Plants are sentient. What we mean is sapient. And that means you are capable of thinking about, considering, and forming an understanding of stimulus. Sentient just means you are receptive to stimulus, essentially. But
the
anyway,
trouble is, my brother, the interviews and readings I've been doing the last week, I'm prepared to say sentient.
Oh, with incels, yes.
That bothers me a lot. Some of these people just don't. The entitlement to everything that incels have is also disgusting. This is going to be a huge thing. I'm going to just write that down as is, but entitlement is going to be a massive part of the module of what we do. The entitlement.
This thing I was going to say. Okay, I'm wary of this one because it's almost buying into their bullshit. But a thing they regularly complain about is women only go after good-looking men. Like they go, oh, the hot chicks only go for the chads. And it was like, well, what do you got to offer, buddy? It's just, and this is linked to a whole bunch of things people write, the sense of entitlement and whatnot. But it's at the same time they are judging and saying, well, that super hot woman is only going after the super hot guy. And it's why I'm very wary of this, because you're buying into their whole thing about looks and appearance and whatnot. But if one is being realistic and, you know, you don't have as much to offer as someone who's hotter than you. And yes, for many people, both, well, I wouldn't even say both. I'll just say across the gender and sexuality spectrum, looks are not the only, or in many cases, even a primary driver. But when you get these guys who start to describe everything around physical appearance and traditional, particularly Western ideas of attractiveness, and then within the rule set that they themselves draw up, they start declaring that people who are much better looking than them should be attracted to them. And it's like, well, you're going to have to work on something for that sort of thing. And yes, Megaleech, I am also hearing there is a very slight echo coming from Aidsy's end. I don't know if he's got a set of headphones sitting around somewhere or...
No, there is nothing plugged into my...
Okay. I don't think it's a huge issue.
It's absolutely nothing plugged into my machine except for my microphone. Coming straight out of my laptop to my tablet. That's it. There's nothing plugged in.
There's a very slight delay where you hear me again sounding like I'm coming from an AM radio that's turned down very low. So it's not an echo like reverb. You just hear me again a second later. It's very quiet. I don't think it's a deal breaker. Put it that way.
Okay. I don't know what to do about it. I'll check my sound settings soon enough. When I checked my mic settings, they were fine.
Yeah, don't stress too much about it. I don't think it's a big deal.
Well, if it becomes a problem, please let me know.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah. I'm gonna put Argo incels expect $20,000 an hour soup models to laugh at their jokes. And impale themselves
Okay.
upon
Yes, I see where you're going with that.
their fantasies.
Yeah. Yeah. So, yeah. Yeah. And I think there's this whole, a lot of those things are obviously very deeply interlocked. The entitlement and the inconsistency. There's an inconsistency that goes along with the entitlement. And it's like the standards that they wish to apply to women, they don't also apply to themselves.
Well, they can't. They
Hmm.
can't. It's not actually physically possible for them to do. And it's taken me a while to work this out. We also have a problem, and I will be going into this. We have a problem, a cultural problem in the English speaking world where the incels that we know of come from four main groups. They come from the United States, the UK, Australia, and India.
Mm-hmm.
And in each of these four different places, cultural expectations are wildly different. I will be talking about this. We're talking about places that are rights societies and obligation societies, and we will be talking about places that are historically different and places that are different in terms of financial transaction. People who are not incels, for example, in the United States, expect there to be monetary exchange for a normal relationship to go ahead. That's disturbing to me, but it's a normal thing for folk of the United States. It's a very normal thing. It's expected that a date will cost around X amount of dollars for the socioeconomic group that is participating. It is expected that certain rituals will take place, and it is expected that the so-called first, second, third bases will occur. Here, for example, totally different ball game. You're in or you're out. In the UK, different again. She'll look at your shoes. You're in or you're out. In India, it's actually quite terrifying. If you happen to have made the mistake of hitting up with the wrong caste, then you can expect to be dragged off and played with however they see fit. And that is horrifying. And I thought that this was a thing that would hit major news outlets and has in the past. No, only in terms of gang rape. Happens every fucking day. I don't get it. I just don't understand it. Here, of course, people say, "Hello, how you doing? What's your name? What are you into? What do you do?" Over there, they say, "Hello, what's your name? Where do you work? What's your caste?" And that's a thing. That's a real thing. And yeah, I've heard horrifying stories of women going to police stations and saying, I am X caste and I was abused by someone of Y caste, and them laughing at them and sometimes even continuing on the assault. And I just thought, oh, that's just anecdotal, but I've since found no, not anecdotal. There's actual statistics that back it up. And yeah, horrific. And you wonder why Pakistani folks won't let you look at their women. So there's that aspect. You walk over to South Africa, it's a little different again. Women there tend to be a little more feisty, in the sense that if you upset them, they'll knife you.
In that sense of feisty, okay.
Yeah. Well, there has been for the longest time the myth that to cure a woman of lesbianism, you get someone to get a heterosexual male to rape her, and that'll cure her of lesbianism, or give her AIDS. And recently, those women have been deciding to find once more their supposed curative male and slicing them. The law courts apparently have been having a lot of trouble prosecuting those same women because they were A, raped, B, technically murdered, and B, defending themselves after the fact. It's really tricky legally. I don't understand the ins and outs of it fully yet, but apparently it's quite rife and starting to have an effect. I want you to cure my daughter of lesbianism. Yes,
Yeah.
I have AIDS. She will kill me. Or she thinks I have AIDS. She will kill me. So yeah, the whole try and rape me, I'll fucking slice you has been a thing lately, and I am having a lot of trouble saying no, that's the wrong thing to do. I'm having a lot of trouble.
Well, yeah, it becomes a complex question, the vigilantism of with all the problems in the world, is a horrible person getting some comeuppance worth spending time worrying about? And again, you can argue pure morality arguments, which is normally argued by people who have the comfort of not struggling to survive. But I mean, you can make the argument that it's like, well, that becomes a vicious cycle. The more you get into retributive quote unquote justice, the more extreme the retributions become, and the more or the less severe the infringements become. Even Dirty Harry said that back in the 70s with Magnum Force, when he found out there were vigilante cops who were murdering criminals who got off in the courts. And they're saying, well, because you've shot a bunch of people in the line of duty, surely you agree. And he's like, no, not hunting them down and executing them, because it gets, you do that and it works and you feel good, and you eventually end up to the point where you want to shoot your neighbor because his dog took a shit on your lawn. And again, that's not an absolutely true argument. It is an argument, and I think it's worth taking into account. But do I lose if there was a retributive thing that happened to someone doing a particularly awful thing? Is that a thing I lie awake at night worrying about? Not so much. Not so much.
Yeah, I am really torn over that. I'm actually really torn over that. Yeah, so I'm gonna have a meditate on that and think about it some more. Obviously, the real answer here is to go, don't be going around raping people.
Well, that would be nice if that was a message that adequately got through to enough people. That would be super. But then you get these fucking weirdos who get angry that you even try to get that message out.
Yeah.
You're saying every man's a rapist. No, I'm not.
No, I'm not.
I'm just saying, the overwhelming majority, to the point of being all rapists, are men. There are exceptions to that case that are so small in number that it statistically virtually doesn't exist. But yeah, it's and like that, when they were doing, oh, not all men. Go, well, yeah, not all men do it. I don't do it. But yes, all women need to defend against it because it's so common and it's so widespread. Saf is asking, do incels attack people randomly? Probably depends on what you mean by randomly.
Yes,
there's been a couple of big attacks. They say what they do is not random. They do kill both men and women. They tend to target women, but then they get angry at men who they perceive are better than them. So I think by some definitions, they kill people randomly. I think in many cases, if you could give a shit what they would say it wasn't random. They were bad. They were my target.
Random.
It is.
It's random. The vast majority of incel violence is gun violence, and it's
occasionally driving cars
when they've lost their temper, and it's usually done in an afternoon, either driving around or walking around or typically a uni or a high school campus, and they mow down whoever the hell they see. They've been shown to mow down people they know and like. It's just that they've lost their temper, and it's overwhelmingly random, and it's behavioral. So yeah, I'm being very, very careful about the words that I'm using now, because I want
you should be.
I don't want to preach yet.
Yeah.
Because I'm going to be preaching a lot.
Yeah.
And I'm going to be doing it in such a way as to be very seductive. And so I want to get people's perceptions rather than my thoughts. Do you see what I'm saying?
Yeah, absolutely. You're lost in thought. That's okay. It's for the briefest of seconds, I thought your internet had actually frozen, and then
Oh,
your eyes.
right. No. I was actually literally, for the first time in Aidsy's life, shutting up and letting someone else say something.
Yeah. No, that's cool. And look, I think it's one of those weird things that's simultaneously a complex issue and a simple issue. It's a simple issue in that they're
Absolutely.
horrible, fucking entitled pieces of shit who need to be dealt with. It's complex in that, well, what elements are there in society that encourage someone to think that this is a valid way to think? Where do they get reinforcement for those ideas? And for the ones who end up acting violently, where do they get the idea that responding in that way is an acceptable way to respond? Because the overwhelming majority of them aren't acting in isolation. They gather on these forums, they share their hate with one another, and it spirals. And they look out, they see this ridiculous thing that right-wing politicians do, say, "Oh, it's a war on men," and they go, "Yeah, that's it." So the next thing I do is actually a defensive move because there's a war on me. So if I do something that hurts someone else, it was actually a defensive move on my part because I was under attack. And that even goes to like that horrific little piece of shit Kyle Rittenhouse who just got off murdering a couple people. He packs a semi-automatic weapon into a truck, crosses state lines deliberately to go. It was a premeditated plan to shoot people. He shoots and murders people, and then gets off because of the American court system. And it's just like, right, okay. It's the same thing. He got reinforcement that this is okay.
I'm still having a problem processing that.
Yeah, you're not alone. You're not alone.
I mean, I know that it happened.
Yeah.
But I'm having literally a problem processing the fact that the guy got himself a fucking military weapon, went across state lines and gunned people down and said it was in self-defense. How did they buy that? I mean, the fact that he was white helped a lot, and that hurts. That hurts a lot.
White and conservative, because there was one of the sort of radical leftists who, in an altercation, one of these things, did shoot someone dead, and his interaction with the cops is being shot dead with 20 or 30 rounds while sitting in the driver's seat of his car. And it's not just that he's white; he's white and conservative. Because this other guy was white. It's just that he was a leftist and perceived as a threat to the power structure. So the enforcers of the power structure just opened fire on him. So it's all complicated. And of course, the biggest worry is it opens the floodgates. It's just given official legal sanction to committing premeditated murder. It's go out of your way to find a situation where you can gun people down. And you've got a legal precedent that that's not premeditated murder, that in fact it is not a criminal act of any kind.
The thing that has bothered me the most over this last year is that there has been the derogatorization of the word antifa, which is a acronym for anti-fascist.
Yes.
And the idea that any American would not identify with anti-fascist
Yeah. Yeah.
terrifies me.
Yeah.
The
And the
fact
ones
that
who
they say, "Oh,
yeah.
Antifa did it, and they're bad." It's
Yeah.
like you're saying that anti-fascists are bad. You're saying that fascists are good.
So it cracks me up when someone goes, "I'm anti-fascist." And you go, "Well, just do you remember your high school maths with fractions? You know, the two conflicting antis cancel each other out. So you remove them, and you've just said in a sentence that you're fascist. You've just said it. You've
Yeah,
said you're anti-fascist. The antis cancel each other. So you're just openly admitting to be fascist. No, that's not. Well, you know who's the real
and
fascist? The anti-fascists.
but
And
but I
words
thought,
don't
oh,
mean
okay,
anything.
that it's just that they're not sure what they're saying. It's just that they're not sure what the words mean. It's like when they started saying socialized healthcare. It doesn't mean anything. It just means something I'm afraid of, healthcare. But when you see these Antifa, these anti-Antifa rallies get together, and you see people with swastikas, and somebody's at my door. I've just got to go and get that. I'll just be a second.
All right. And Chris, yes, I appreciate your input there, because yes, the judge in that case
Hello.
was
Hello.
horrifically bad.
Hello. How are you?
And yeah,
Oh,
the
yeah,
fact
come in,
that
come in, come in. I'm
kids,
actually not going to be on live stream very long. I've just been very rude and asked everyone lots of questions, and
okay,
they're going to
so
tell
you
me to
got
go
stuff
away
to do.
soon. Fairy lights. The fairy lights are pretty.
They're gorgeous.
Two very nice people have just walked into my door and told me to pull my head in, but but in these anti-Antifa rallies, there's people with swastikas running around,
There
and no
sure
one's questioning that. No one's going, "You're wearing a fucking swastika." Our grandparents went to war for 6 years to try and stop that shit. Did you not bother to worry about that bit? And you've got, well, I'm not going to say his name, but his initials are Donald Trump.
Yeah.
Basically going, yeah, fascism is good. I don't know, man. Why am I bringing this up when I'm talking about incels?
They're directly related.
It relates. It's all related, and it bothers me a lot that it's
They're
related.
directly related.
We're coming back to the freedom through joy fucking society, and women are starting to buy it again, and that bothers me a lot. And I'm really, this is starting to become a passion project of mine, because that other project we were doing, which the man walking down the stairs, which I still want to do,
Yeah.
but this has become kind of
Yep.
more important.
Sure.
Because
And
I saw
it's
some
important.
news things that bothered the shit out of me.
Hmm.
And I think it's important. So has anyone got anything else to say? And then I'll fuck off.
I do think there was just one closing one. Well, not necessarily meant to be closing, but this is an important central question, I think. Because in all the incel arguments, it is very clear. It is very clear they don't consider women they're equal. And I mean, Abigail even, I think I put it up before, that, so, do they realize women are whole human beings with their own thoughts, feelings, and aspirations? It's when they debase the whole thing into and it's not even relationships, it's sexual conquest, and they debase it to point scoring and wins and losses, and it's just like,
yeah,
You're
and
talking
accountancy.
about another human being.
It's
You're talking
also
about
accountancy. I put
yeah,
in 6, therefore I
yeah,
should get 6 out.
yeah,
It's like,
yeah.
what?
Well, the joke that's often done, it's like those stamps they give you at the coffee places, like 5 stamps and you get a free coffee. And it's like, I did 5 nice things. You're required to have sex with me now. And it's
There
like,
you go. Why didn't
that's
I think of that? The
that's
instill
not
stamp
how.
system.
Yeah,
I've done 5 nice things, therefore you owe me a root. And I've come up with a name for the program too.
yeah.
You are now leaving incel, population 1 less.
Nice,
Nice.
nice.
Nice. All right, I will get onto that because there's some great fucking questions there, and they really
Yeah.
lead into the attitudes that I'm looking for. I was
Mm.
particularly happy that women were talking about it because it affects women, obviously, and it damages men, but they don't get it yet.
Yeah,
They
yeah,
just don't get it yet.
yeah.
Anyway, look, what I'm going to do is I'm going to fuck off out of it.
Alrighty.
If anyone has any more questions, can they just sort of leave them with you and you just sort of punt them over to me?
Absolutely, yes.
Hey, people, thank you for letting me be on your device. I think yous are off of really fucking cool. You should subscribe to Angry's cocktail channel, and when the incel thing comes on, you should subscribe to that too. But we'll probably put it on Less Angry Aussie. I don't know what we're going to do yet. Anyway, you rule. Thank you very, very much for doing that. So I'd better tell you a joke before I leave. What do you call a Jew?
Friend? I don't know. What?
Fuck, I don't know. I don't talk to him. Have a really wonderful night.
Leaving on that one. Okay. All right.
Have a really wonderful night. Be nice to one another. Say nice things about me when I'm gone. Love yous. Bye.
Bye. All right. So, do you know, Heine, what you're saying about woke and how it's evolved in 12 months? I'll point out the term woke has been in use for many years. It's a lot more than 12 months old. And like most things that end up in popular Western culture, it was started in Black culture in America. And it does mean, as you say, aware. It means awake. Are you awake to the truth? Do you understand what's really happening in the world? It's like if you see past the veneer of the establishment and realize what's really going on, you're woke. And yes, right-wing fuckheads use it as an insult now. They suggest that woke means being overly sensitive about things. It's like these pieces of shit who goes, I miss the good old days when you could joke without offending people. What they actually mean is they miss the good old days where you could be blatantly racist, misogynist, homophobic, just bigoted generally. You could generally be vile and disgusting and not suffer any retribution, no approbation. No one would openly criticize you because the dominant ethos in culture was fucking white supremacy when it comes down to it. So yes, that's the only amendment I'd give to your thing on woke, Heine, is it's much older than 12 months. I don't know how much, but many years. I've been seeing it on the internet for many years. I'd also probably argue it wasn't about environmental issues. It was part of Black American culture. So it was mostly about racial injustice, about the oppression inherent in the system. Help, help! I'm being repressed. To quote Monty Python, and the Holy Grail, one of my favorite Monty Python things ever. The anarchist peasants having a disagreement with King Arthur. Actually, an incredibly good explanation of anarcho-syndicalist theory. Supreme executive power doesn't derive from some farcical aquatic ceremony. It derives from a mandate from the masses. So, yes, Heine, in short, virtually anything you see in popular Western culture started in Black American culture, probably queer Black American culture at that. Bum Fungus, hello, sir. How are you? Yes, exactly. Although, yes, Salumi, seeing our current Prime Minister, one starts to think strange women lying about in ponds distributing swords might be a better system of government than what we have. And I empathize with Tired Brain Salumi. I have to do a little to-camera thing for a thing I shot earlier, and then I get to have a drink. This won't take that long, but you'll find out my ethos about making a bottled cocktail, because I made another bottled cocktail tonight. So, this afternoon. Chilling. Now I'm going to explain it to camera. So that means, yeah, I'll do this so you can still see me while I do it. You get nostril cam. Turn on some extra lights. I like the bright lights. I like to boogie. Just gotta check that my camera's on. And just widen that a bit. Don't know if anyone recognizes that old disco song I was just kind of doing the words to. I like the nightlife. I like to boogie. There's a weird thing about disco songs. I lived through disco. All the big hits were about being at the disco. Like, there are some rock songs about being in a rock band. There are some pop songs that are about pop songs. But all the big disco hits were about being at the disco. And they're like, okay, I guess a lot of rap songs are about being a rapper. So there is that. But like, all the big disco hits were about being at the disco. It's a bit weird. It's a little bit weird. I'm sure there are disco songs that weren't specifically about being at discos, but all the big hits were. And oh God, now I just remembered 90s raves, going to raves in the 90s. All the popular rave music was about raves. Maybe it's about clubs and dancing. I don't know. There's a thesis to be explored there. I don't know if anyone else has 2 cents to put in on my whole disco thesis. I don't have my audio recorder. I'm such an idiot. Just a second, I'm going to get it. Right, got my audio recorder. Okay, got my audio recorder. This is how many? There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 10 components. There's 10 components in my bottled cocktail. I'm a fucking professional. That's what's happening here. I'm being a fucking professional. All right. Start recording. G'day, cocktail lovers. I hope you've been keeping well. I am going to make for you, and I'm going to talk about why I'm making this. I'm going to make another bottled cocktail. This is my current favorite cocktail. It's called a Woodson and Ford, named after the bar, which is now defunct, but it was the bar where the drink was invented. It's essentially a Vieux Carré riff, which in and of itself is essentially a Manhattan riff. So you're playing on the spirit and the fortified wine combination. It's just multiples in there. It's like a split base drink. And when I stumbled across the Woodson and Ford, I just instantly loved it, and I still love it. And I'm making this bottled cocktail because I'm going away for a weekend with Mrs. Angry. And while we will be going to some venues where other people make us drinks, this is our backup. This is to have in our hotel room, our very own bottled cocktail. It's one we both really like. And I'm going to show you now how I made it. If you're making yourself a base Woodson and Ford, it's rum, an apple brandy, sweet vermouth, and Benedictine. That's what's in it. But because I'm making it in the cocktail, I'm splitting that even further. So I'm starting off. This is a cherry rum that was made in Australia. The rums were imported from Trinidad and Tobago, and then they did macerations with cherries and other things, made an amazing thing. So the first thing I did, because I worked out essentially, 750ml bottle, there's about 90 mils in a standard Woodson and Ford. So it's about 8 drinks. So I just did 8 measures and I split it among the things. So the first thing I did was 3 ounces or 90 mils of cherry rum. Mixing it up with the rums, I also went with this one, an Australian aged, they call it black. It's not quite black, it's a dark rum, 12-year aged rum from Bundaberg in Queensland. And I was doing the same amount, 90 mils or 3 ounces of this aged rum. For a little bit of fun, to round out the rums, I'm going Navy strength. I'm going with Smith and Cross, a very well-known Jamaican rum. It's 57% alcohol. That's going to beef it up a bit. And the reason I decided to go with a bit of higher proof is because the standard Woodson and Ford recipe said to use bottled in bond Laird's Applejack, which is 50% alcohol. I don't have that. It's basically impossible to get in Australia. The apple components I'm putting in are lower proof than the Laird's is. So I thought, what the hey, pick it up on the rum side. So I'm putting in about 1 ounce to 1.5 ounces to 2 ounces, depending how generous I'm feeling with myself, of Smith and Cross. The Woodson and Ford has equal parts of the rum and the apple brandy. I'm splitting up the apple brandy too, starting with a French Calvados, and I'm going to put in 90 mils or 3 ounces of Calvados. Staying in France, this is an apple liqueur called Le Belou. It's much lower in alcohol than the spirits, which is one of my reasons that I gave myself the excuse of using the Smith and Cross. But I love the flavor of this one. It's one of my favorite liqueurs. And so I'm also adding 90 ounces. 90 ounces, that would be a big drink. 90 mils or 3 ounces of the apple liqueur. A little bit more apple brandy now. This is an Australian one from Tasmania, from the Belgrave Distillery. They call it Apple Hatchet, and I'm finishing out the apple component by adding 2 ounces, 60 mils of some more apple brandy. Now, for the sweet vermouth, Now, for the sweet vermouth component, if you were making a single Woodson and Ford, you'd use 3/4 of an ounce of sweet vermouth. And when I said 8 parts, I mean ratcheting it up by a factor of 8 for this bottled cocktail. That makes it relatively easy to work out what to do. I just need to do 6 ounces of that. And I'm splitting that between 2 vermouths. I'm going to do 3 ounces of an Australian sweet vermouth from Adelaide, Unico's Yuzu Sweet Vermouth, doing 90 mils or 3 ounces of this. And I'm doing the same amount of Punta Mez, which is another full-bodied vermouth, not as sweet as the Yuzu, but that's also sweeter than most sweet vermouths. So I think this will strike a good balance, and I'm doing 3 ounces, 90 mils of Punta Mez. For the herbal element of this drink, it's a comparatively lower amount. In a standard Woodson and Ford, you would have just 1/4 of an ounce of Benedictine. So multiplying by 8, going to end up with 2 ounces of herbal. But for fun, I split it again. So I'm doing 1 ounce or 30 mils of Benedictine. And slightly upping the alcohol content again to compensate for the lower alcohol apple elements, I'm going to do some green chartreuse. This is 55% alcohol as opposed to most spirits being around 40% alcohol. And again, I'm just going to do 1 ounce or 30 mils of green chartreuse. So that's how I made it, but I feel like saying, why did I make it? There are a couple of reasons. Like I said, one is I'm going away for the weekend and just having that handy pre-mixed bottle, so convenient. Just the convenience for yourself is great. But, just being able to reach into the fridge, there's my cocktail, there's my several cocktails. You got to love how easy that is. And also, if you have guests, how good would that be? Guests come around and you just whip it out and impress them straight away. That came out slightly wrong. But what I'm saying is you can impress your guests by having some ready-made cocktails when they come around. Word of warning, if this is better with cocktails that don't have citrus in them. A lot of people really overstate about, how quickly citrus loses its zest. But there is a deterioration in the brightness of citrus the longer it is after you've squeezed it. So I'd only really do one with citrus the same day I was going to serve it, or alternatively, do all the components apart from the citrus, get it out of the fridge, then add the citrus and shake it. But because this has no citrus, lends itself perfectly to batching. So that's 2 of the reasons. And I think I had a third one. Man, I was going to say something really smart. Don't you hate it? Don't you hate it when you had something really smart prepared and then you forget it? I don't know about you, but I hate that. Get my glass. There was a third smart reason. I just remembered it. The other reason I really like making bottled cocktails is because you can add complexity. Like I said, with a standard Woodson and Ford is a great drink. It is my current favorite, but it's much easier if you're making a bigger batch to split the elements. When there's only 30 mils or 1 ounce of rum, you can split that between different rums, but it's a little bit harder to get a blend happening. If you're making a whole bottle of it, you can split it among multiple rums or multiple vermouths, as I did, multiple apple brandies, and you get a more complex drink. You get the different types of the rums and the brandies, etc., blending and you get a more complex drink. Takes it to another level. It's just great. And in fact, nice little pop. I'm going to try that. Got my Nick and Nora chilling. Obviously, because I've had this in the fridge, I'm just serving it straight up. This, you would normally serve a Woodson and Ford straight up. I won't judge you if you like put it in a rocks glass and put a big bit of ice in it. But yeah, it's a fantastic color. Some very deep, rich colors in there. And oh, this is still my favorite. This is incredible. Yeah, and like I said, you can use your favorite rums, your favorite apple brandies, your favorite vermouths, and just really experiment. And then the other thing I love doing is it's a different drink each time. If you do it with a blend, you can tweak it and come up. It's the same basic drink, but it's got a slightly different character each time. You know, cocktail making is supposed to be fun in my book. You're supposed to be exploring. It's supposed to be a good time. You find a recipe you like, stick with it, but don't be afraid to play with it. Don't be afraid to freeform a little, explore what that can offer, because yeah, it's not always going to work, but occasionally you're going to come up with something great. And if there's one thing I could share with you, it would be explore, improvise. What's that thing? Adapt, improvise, overcome. Well, get drunk. You know, just like it is. Anyway, I hope that's inspired you, or at least, you know, have a drink you enjoy. If I inspire nothing else, just have a drink you enjoy. And whatever you're doing, look after yourself, look after the people around you. And until I see you again, I'll say cheers. I didn't intend to do it. I might drink this. I was thinking of pouring it back in the bottle, but maybe not. Yes, Abigail, I was going to script the whole thing, which would have made perfect sense. I offer no defense to the no notes. Oh, turning off the bright lights, turning off the camera. Right. Turning off the audio recorder. All right. So yeah, this is a kick-ass drink. I'm not just saying that for a video. It's really good. Well, again, to my taste, you know, we all have different palates. Yes, bum fungus. It is a fucking legend. Drink this. Oh, I mean, you can tell like the rum's the backbone. If you've got a good flavored rum in there, that's the backbone of the whole thing. The apple brandies tend to mellow it a bit. They're a bit lighter than most rums. And then a sweet vermouth, or in my case, multiple sweet vermouths, brings that fruitiness of the wine base of the vermouths in. And then just the little herbal touch. Like it's very light. Like, you know, like in a single drink, it's 1 ounce rum, 1 ounce apple brandy, 3/4 of an ounce vermouth, 1/4 of an ounce herbal. So the herbal's just a little tweak to the whole thing. Oh, Abigail, the pineapple is amazing. Oh, and you know what I'm sure you would enjoy as well? A big component of the pineapple drink that we had is called tepache. Tepache? I'm never quite sure how to pronounce it. Apparently very popular in Mexico. And pineapples are cheap at the moment. They're not as cheap as they were a couple of weeks ago when I made it, because I think I only paid $2 for a whole pineapple. And I saw they were $4 today, which is still reasonable. But yeah, you peel a pineapple, and then it's like all it is the pineapple peel, sugar, water, and spices, like whichever ones you want, like, you know, cinnamon sticks, cloves, nutmeg. You know, you can put some star anise in, because that's what I put in. So you put those type of spices. You know, if you've got some allspice berries, sort of crush them. And you could put peppercorns in if you want peppercorns. So you basically, it's that simple. It's water, sugar, and whatever spices you want to put in. And you leave that for about 2 days. Taste it after 1 day because you don't want it to ferment too long or it'll kind of go vinegary, but it'll lightly ferment. It will actually have a very low alcohol content. But it gets slightly effervescent as it ferments. Yeah, and then you strain it and you got this fucking killer pineapple drink. But yeah, the pineapple drink, which again, the making of it is on my cocktail channel on YouTube, Angry Cocktails. The pineapple drink, which Abigail and I knocked off the other night because it is so good. That was made of pineapple rum, coconut rum, and overproof rum. Although, just whatever rums you want, really. So it's made of rum, tepache, and then pineapple syrup. In my case, it was pineapple syrup, coconut syrup, and lime syrup. And yes, Abigail, although there's the quantities of the ingredients for my pineapple drink, yes. The quantities, I'm almost sure I wrote them in the description of the video. I will really quickly check. Where is... There it is. Right. Videos on the Angry Cocktails channel. It was just last week I put it up. I call it the Winter Colada Liqueur. Oh, no, I didn't write it. I do say it in the video, but it's basically, okay, so in a 750 ml bottle, I did 400 mils of rum, 100 mils of tepache, 100 mils of pineapple syrup, 100 mils of coconut sugar, 50 mils of lime sugar. So it's basically my recommended quantities, whatever volume you're making, is more. Make it more than half booze. That's my tip. Probably less than 3/4. So more than half booze, but less than 3/4. I did 400 out of 750 mils was booze. And I did 250 mils of sugar syrup and 100 mils of tepache. You could easily do less sugar syrup and more tepache, actually, like possibly even 50-50. But that's the quantities I'd go for. Depending how boozy you want it, if, again, yeah, make it more than half booze is good advice for many things, Abigail. So, yeah, if you were making a 750 ml bottle, I'd say 400 mils booze. In my case, it was rum. It was mixed rums. Or more. If you want to make it more boozy, make it more boozy. But yeah, I made it 400 out of 750 mils booze, and then the rest is the sweeteners. So yeah, I actually, of the other 350 mils, 250 mils was sugar syrup and 100 mils was tepache. But yeah, as I was saying, you could easily, because tepache is half sugar anyway, so you could easily up the tepache. Again, I don't know if it's tepache or tepache. I don't offhand have a Mexican friend to ask. So that would be the ratios I would talk about. But you play with that according to your preferences as well. If you want it stronger, make it stronger. If you want it less sweet, maybe make more tepache and less sugar syrup. So, and also when we were having it, Abigail, we were having it with soda, so it was diluted even more. And I tried it multiple ways. It was good straight. I shook it with lime juice to brighten it up, and that was really good. I shook it with cream of coconut to make it desserty, and that was really good. And when you were around, we had it with soda, and that was really good. It was basically, it's just like, it's very versatile. It's very versatile. Safri's Commodores numbers. All our days are numbered, man. Is he not going to be prime minister after the next federal election? All signs point to yes. A lot of people are kind of talking up that Dutton thinks he can challenge for the prime ministership, and I don't think he can, and I don't think it's a thing to hope for anyway. Yes, when you look at who pushes voter ID laws, that should give you a very strong idea if it's good or bad. It's bad people pushing it. They're pushing it because it will disadvantage people that they think won't vote for them. It's shitty. Yes, Abigail, it is a very yummy drink. There's no two ways about it. But so if you did it in the old speak of parts, so it's broadly 4 parts booze to 1 part tepache to 2 parts sugar syrup. And you can adjust those to personal taste. I mean, you could reduce down the booze if you don't want it to be so boozy. Or you could do what me and Abigail did, drink it with soda. We were diluting it by 50% with soda, and it tasted fucking awesome. But yeah, that would be my base thing. 4 parts booze to 2 parts sugar to 1 part tepache. And you can change any of those according to your preference. I wouldn't add more sugar than that. That's the one thing I wouldn't increase. I wouldn't add more sugar because it was very sugary. You could put more booze if you want, or you could put more tepache if you want. I wouldn't do more sugar. And if I was increasing either the tepache or the booze element, the thing I'd cut back is sugar. But again, unless you wanted it less boozy, you'd do more tepache and less booze. Safa, are you asking, are lemons good on cocktails? Lemons are a fundamental part of many cocktails. Lemon juice is an extremely common modifier in cocktails. In one of my favorite cocktails, the whiskey sour, in the sidecar, I think. So I'm just double checking. Yeah. Sorry, I feel like I'm about to sneeze. There's a tickle in my nose. Hey, am I going to sneeze? Am I going to sneeze? I was going to sneeze, I could tell. Yeah, so lemon juice is a central element in 2 of my favorite cocktails, the whiskey sour and the sidecar. It's a very common modifier. This looks like I'm drinking red wine, largely because a big component is this vermouth. This is a fortified red wine. So it's basically a red wine base, flavor enhanced with some fruit and botanicals, and fortified with a spirit. So it's more alcoholic than most wine, 16%, but much less alcoholic than a spirit. So that's what vermouth is. Vermouth is a fortified wine. It's usually flavor enhanced with botanicals and fortified with some spirit. And this particular sweet vermouth is so red. It's dominated the color. But most of the other things I put in were brown. So you end up with this very sort of rich burgundy color. Yum. That is such a nice drink. That is a fucking awesome drink. Yeah, every now and then, like, because the first time I had this, I was like, oh my God. That's great. Every now and then I make one, I think, am I going to be over it? Is it not going to taste as fantastic? And it still tastes fantastic. Oh, yeah, Strictly Sega. Aidsy was on, and he's wanting to basically kind of put together a thesis about incels. So he's asking everyone what pissed them off about incels. And it was good chat. It was very good chat. So I'm just putting this glass out of the way so I don't knock it over. And I feel like I should drink some water. I've got this one here. I'll drink a little bit of water. Oh, wait, excuse me for a second. I'm just trying to get things methodical here. All right. Just realizing, shit, I have to get organized, basically. And it's all good in the hood. Oh, Abigail, I made some mango syrup with like mango. Oh, it's great. It's very lightly mango flavored. So yeah, the recent ones I got in the fridge, I've got one that's very heavily flavored by chai and cinnamon. Got a mango one, a coconut one. There's one where I just put a whole bunch of different ones. There was the pineapple and just a raw sugar syrup, and I think it was the remains of the lemon lime oleosaccharum as well. But yeah, no, a sugar syrup with mango skins, can recommend, definitely. Strictly Sega, we did not talk much about the religious protection law. The Scotty wants to bring vilification back because he misses it. So what's a little synopsis on ABC News? Prime Minister introduced the bill. He's being urged by moderate Liberal MPs to also act immediately to ensure gay students and teachers are better protected. Years after the original draft was written, Scott Morrison introduced the watered-down legislation on Thursday morning, said the law will bring clarity and confidence that Australians of faith will be protected from discrimination. I fucking hate this just on its face. The idea that discrimination should be enshrined in law because someone says their religion tells them to be bigoted is a fucking abomination. It's despicable. It's absolutely despicable. And that's why Morrison loves it so much, because he's fucking despicable. He's just the fucking worst. Yeah, it's gross and disgusting. I hate him with a passion. The law seeks to protect Australians who make statement of belief from existing state-based discrimination laws, but only if those statements do not threaten, intimidate, harass, or vilify a person or group. And it's saying religious schools and organizations will be allowed to give preference and prioritize the employment and enrollment of people from the same faith, but the institutions would have to have a clear public policy that explains how religious views would be enforced. If you didn't share those views, why would you fucking want to work at those places? Morrison described the bill as sensible and embarrassed. Sorry, it's literally like if Morrison calls something sensible and balanced, you know it's fucked and unbalanced just because he's a lying sack of shit. It's basically things are always the opposite of what he fucking says. Morrison claims the bill doesn't allow for discrimination against a student on the basis of their sexuality or gender identity. Again, there is a very strong part of me that says, why the fuck would you go to a school that preaches that shit? Hey, Stella. Good evening. Stella, if Morrison ever told the truth, I think he'd spontaneously combust, quite honestly. It's just fucked. Strictly so he's doing it for East Church. He's doing it for all the bigoted religious conservatives, basically. And hey, Nettie, welcome back. Nice to have you back. Trying to think. It's all good in the hood. I did want to make one more short video, but it can wait because they're very quick to upload because it's got to be less than 60 seconds. YouTube trying to compete with TikTok. Doubt that it'll work. I doubt that it will work. But who knows? Who knows in this big, wacky world of ours? Should look at locals up in arms about council's method to police incorrect bin use. What's this? Council move described as a bit creepy. Bentley East, not that far from where I live. Emerged from home, find a tag had been secretly attached to 2 of his bins. Upset by the move, supposedly executed by a council worker, he took to Facebook to air his grievances. Someone said it's infuriating. Someone said it was sickening. Residents were most upset a council worker had been doing the rounds, checking household bins to be... Well, don't use the bins incorrectly, you fucking munters. Jesus. It's understood the information tags were placed on bins that had been incorrectly used. It's like people are fuckwits. People are absolute fuckwits, quite honestly. It's like, because you fuck up the whole sort of recycling and processing thing if you use the bins incorrectly. And so to let people know, someone's actually been going look in the bins, and if you've used them incorrectly, they've put a tag that says, you've used this bin incorrectly, this is how you use it. And then these people go, how dare you point out that I'm a fucking idiot? It's because you're a fucking idiot, okay? If you stop being a fucking idiot, people won't point out that you're a fucking idiot. But you're a fucking idiot, so people are pointing out that you're a fucking idiot. It's New Zero. Just the fucking ridiculous fucking beat ups. If someone else, they print Facebook posts and say it's a fucking news story. Seriously. Jesus Christ. Have I mentioned recently that I hate people? Because I kind of fucking do. Ugh. Yeah. Just friggin' people. Friggin' people, man. I friggin' hate them. People just fucking suck, honestly. Stella, I'm kind of with you. Karen's a Karen regardless of gender. Yes, it's not really about a gender name. It's about behavior. It's the point of bins when it's going to landfill third world countries. Well, Stella, there is a very big question of the degree to which we're being lied to, particularly about recycling. It's one of the things, like, we're always joking about, well, if I win the lotto, I'm going to fucking buy a big house. And we're always been talking here about, I'm going to start a distillery if I win lotto. But purely in business terms, I was like, if I had a large amount of money to do something with, I would seriously look into a proper recycling facility in Australia, because not only, would you arguably be doing the right thing, probably make a fucking fortune, because I would absolutely, I'd be shaming anyone who was doing shit where the recycling was literally just being shipped to a third world country to go into landfill where we can't see it. I think you'd make a lot of money. Joe Stratus, a man Karen is a Kyle. That's not bad, actually. That is not bad. A Kyle. There's probably 10 Karens in your year at school. Oh, I get to say actual real people with the name Karen. And I gotta agree, Annette, it's not something I use often, but yeah, particularly if you've got just the fucking weirdness of anti-vax dickheads saying it is just weird. And yes, Stella, good employment source, proper recycling factory. I think that there would be a number of positives to it. And I have trouble understanding how also you wouldn't make a lot of fucking money out of it. Because I swear to God, I'd do the research. I would do the research and finding out which councils and government authorities were shipping waste or potential recycling overseas, and I would make it a big fucking news story, because that happens to a really disgusting degree. There's no need for it. Silly me dying in menopause, having a hot flush while moving furniture. Yes, Mrs. Angry would empathize with you. It looks like Net agrees as well. Yes. More proof that God's a man. Not a smart man. I'm not saying God's a smart man. Because several bad decisions were made. So it says silly me in Germany, when you don't use the bins correctly, they don't collect the rubbish and it works. Oh, that's like that happened to Homer Simpson once. Oh. The whole stream was a Simpsons reference. I got to be careful with how many Simpsons references I do. Stella Melton cancel bins were shown in that literal shit pile that got sent back from China. Oh, damn. And it's not just China. It's all across Asia, Africa, particularly fabric waste, clothing waste, like fast fashion that gets thrown away, is just in mountains in poorer countries. It's ridiculous. But yes, as it stands, I don't have a huge amount of money. So, and yes, Salimi, we should have been minimizing our waste decades ago. And instead, we have gotten progressively worse with manufacturers just creating more and more waste and making things less and less recyclable over the decades. Nettie, chatting with a friend about how you went bogan at the anti-vax protesters in the northern suburbs. It's called going all Thomastown. Ah, I get that. Salumi on leave next week. Told partner he needs to give you clothing he needs repaired because you enjoy repairing, reduce waste. Nice. Stella, well, I hope someone nice wins Powerball tonight. Hasn't it already happened? Wouldn't we know? I don't know. Hope someone nice wins. I just want someone nice. Simple as that. I'm nice. I should win. But yes, it's a strange old world with this goddamn computer wants to restart again. It's friggin' installed something. And yes, I agree with you, Stella. Time has no meaning. Every day of the week, I spend a certain percentage of the day reminding myself what day of the week it is, because I just get fucking confused. Like yesterday, I was going, "What day is it? What happened? I did a stream last night. Wait, does that make it Monday? Is today Monday? Because I do a stream on Sunday night. Is it Monday? No, wait. I do a stream on Tuesday. It's when I think it's Wednesday. Is it what? I think it's Wednesday. Yeah. So strictly Sega, the only reason the Melbourne protests were big is because every single fuckwit who believes that conspiracy bullshit was there. They're a tiny minority. Like, yeah, like it's like 1,000 people or maybe 2,000 people. As when these fuckwits were doing their protests during lockdown, and you know, oh, that's a disturbingly large group of people. But at the same time, like 1,000 of these fuckwits were out being fuckwits. 40,000 people were getting vaccinated per day. Like they're a vanishingly tiny minority, and they're absolute pieces of shit. Ah, yes, Nettie, that thing you said there's going to be that drone show on New Year's Eve. I am kind of looking forward to seeing that, actually. That's when you don't know the date because you're at work. Yeah, I think I used to always know the day when I was going into the office, but working from home is just very confusing. Stella, you thought it was Friday this morning, then you thought it was Tuesday afternoon. Well, no, that thing I said about yesterday, that was all true. I was completely lost. For a while, I was thinking it was Monday. Then I worked out it was Wednesday. I don't think I really had a problem with it today. I think I was sure it was Thursday all day today. I'll be sure it's Friday all day tomorrow because I'm going away in the afternoon. Yeah. Because I'll just be like, yeah, it's Friday because I am going the fuck away. Because a man's got to do what a man's got to do. And yeah, Strictly Sega, Tom Tanuki did do a good video about the fuckers and how they got rid of Avi and the other fuckwit who's been doing all the streamings. It was really good. They just bundled them away straight away. It's like, fuck off, you're a piece of shit, you're not welcome, fuck off. Really well handled, well managed. So, yes, as I say, anyone who even remotely supports those fuckwits, I fucking hate them. It's like, because there's only two types of people at those things. Self-absorbed, delusional, paranoid, conspiracy-prone fuckwits who are being manipulated by far-right extremists, and far-right extremists who are manipulating fuckwits. You know, you're one or the other. You're either one of the fucking fashy pieces of shit manipulating all the idiots, or you're one of the idiots being manipulated by the fashy pieces of shit. That's it. That is fucking it. Treat Abby like a baby. A very annoying baby. Yes, Daddy, I'm imagining how annoying it was for you actually living in the CBD where these fuckwits were roaming around. Because they're awful. They're absolutely terrible. They just suck so much. It's like when someone's trying to be the voice of reason and saying, don't call them Nazis. They're not Nazis. And you go, well, tell them to take their shirts off. Take their fucking shirts off, because a significant number of them have swastika tattoos. The people who are very central to organizing this fuckwittery, a whole bunch of them have openly praised Hitler. And it's just like, I actually feel reasonably comfortable given those criteria that they're people who have openly praised Hitler, and a whole bunch of them, if you take their shirts off, you'll see they have swastika tattoos, and you know, they just advocate racism and white supremacy. It's just like, fuck him. And yes, Strictly say he does. He tries to create confrontation to get views. As the fun thing, there was a bit of video I saw, and it's just everyone just shouting things about him being a wife beater and where's your chopping board, Avi? And someone said, well, he always selectively edits, but it would be a masterwork of editing if he could get any video at all where you couldn't hear people calling him a wife beater. He's such a piece of shit. He's such a piece of shit. And yes, they have a scary vibe because there's a bunch of violent right-wing thugs in those fucking protests. They're just such pieces of shit. They're reprehensible. Absolutely reprehensible. So yes, I'm just thinking. Ugh. Just these fucking porn spam bots that just won't disappear from Facebook. Sending shit. It's very annoying. You know, I just, you know, sorry to any hot women who actually genuinely want to be friends with me on Facebook. You know, all the legitimate hot women are already my friends on Facebook. Any new ones are porn spam bots. So on the off chance any new hot woman wants to be friends with me on Facebook, sorry, I'm going to end up declining you because I'm just going to assume you're a spam bot. And I don't need any more hot women friends. I've got a lot of hot women friends, okay? Yes, Strictly Sega, I hope that shit fades from popularity as well. Because it's mindlessly fucking stupid now. I just hope they progressively wake up. You know, and obviously the far right agitators won't because they're just pieces of shit. But yeah, whatever. Anywho, I'm gonna go to bed because I do have to work tomorrow, and then I'm gonna drive. Not that far. I think it's only meant to take about an hour, but that's good. But still, it's still, even if it's only an hour, I'm still away for the weekend. So I'm going to be having a good time being away. I'm going to visit a couple distilleries because there are so many distilleries. I'm going to visit a couple distilleries. So I might have some fun things to taste next week. I may or may not be live on Sunday night. I will be home. I might be too tired after a big weekend, but I don't know. We'll see. It's open-ended. So I might be taking an extended break from live streams. Who knows? But whatevs, you know, it's okay. Oh, that's okay, Strictly Sega. You know, it's a fairly big news story, the religious discrimination law. Silly me, got to finish moving some furniture. Good on you. So everyone, take care. Look after